seeing me, that would be great. Okay, I think I fixed the problem. So, hello everybody. Welcome to episode 116, this of the Rise Up and Share Your Medicine podcast. And thank you, Katie. So, today's topic is healing the fear of visibility. So, I'm going to talk about why that's so important to do. What does it mean to be visible? And why that goes hand in hand with helping others. So if you're new to me, my name is Lisa Espinosa. I'm a spiritual career coach, and I focus on helping all of you that are helpers, that are, whether you do that professionally, like you're a wellness professional. I have a lot of clients that are therapists or other coaches. And also, you might just be in another career path or in between careers or even retired, but you still have a very deep longing and desire to share your gifts, to live a purposeful life, to help humanity, to heal, to bring people together. Everybody will have, as you've heard me say many times, everybody has their unique gifts. They're a unique reflection of the divine. You have your unique soul's medicine, as I call it. So when you have that as a longing, as a prayer, when maybe that's something you've done your whole life, right? I know for me, even as a little girl, I thought I was going to be a doctor, but really the longing was to help, to heal, to make the world a better place. I imagined myself traveling around the world. I was sure I was going to join the Peace Corps and go to different communities around the world and help people. And so I had that since childhood, this desire to help. And you might have had something similar, right, in a different way. And also a lot of times, those of us who've just had some really big challenges in our lives, but a lot of times in our early life, that kind of adds, right, this passion, this desire to help others, right? Because we went through so much. We want to help make things easier for others. We want to help bring comfort. We want to help share wisdom. And so when you want to do that, it absolutely requires you to be seen. It requires you to be visible. Now, I'm pretty sure I did another podcast episode where I was talking about your soul spotlight, imagining you're on this beautiful spotlight of your soul. So this is a kind of extension of that. So first thing is realizing, oh yeah, if I want to help, I need to be seen. Now for you, that will look uniquely the way for you, right? It doesn't have to be in front of a camera. Although it might be in writing, in being visible by sharing your artwork, by sharing things that you create. It's also visible by just how you show up in the world. And so as you're thinking of that, the first thing I want you to consider is what comes up for you when you think about being more visible. Because this is one of the things that I coach my clients on the most. And please know that this can show up very subtly. It's very interesting when, like, I recently had a session or had a consult with someone, and she was sharing how she doesn't, she's a very confident woman, and she has no problem getting in front of a crowd of people and talking and sharing her wisdom, meeting new people. All of that is very easy for her. But but she was at the point in her business where it was going to require social media, right? Going on social media. And she had so much resistance. She had this fear of visibility there. And so again, tune into that. What are some fears that come up for you around being visible? I wrote some of the ones here that I've had and that I see most commonly with my clients. So one is fear that you will be judged. Fear, that if you put yourself out there more, if you let yourself be seen more, you will be judged, that you will be misunderstood. There's fears that you'll be ignored, right? Isn't that so interesting? There's often this polarity of like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid that I'm gonna put myself out there and everybody's gonna judge me. And then there's another, the opposite end. I'm afraid I'm gonna put myself out there and nobody's gonna care. Like literally nobody's gonna pay attention. Right. So there's that. There's that fear of feeling ignored, of being ignored. I remember when I wrote my first book and I started to do book talks. Oh my gosh. Same. If somebody had just called me and said, "Hey, we own a bookstore. We'd love for you to come here. There's 20 people that want to hear about your book." I would have had no problem at that point in my career because I'd practiced talking in front of people a lot. But the part of where you schedule something and you don't know if anyone's going to show up, that was really scary. It brought up so many fears, right? This fear of like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to be ignored. There's going to be like nobody there. And on the other hand, I was afraid, like, what if there are people there? Because then another common fear is a fear that you will make a mistake. And I see this fear come up in two different ways. I'll make a mistake, and because of the mistake, somebody will end up being hurt, right? So if you're someone who shares, a lot of my clients are in the healing profession, right? So they might be scared, oh my gosh, if I put myself out there, what if I say something and it's the wrong thing to say, and then somebody follows the advice I gave, and because of that, they end up hurting themselves or something, right? And so there's that fear. And then there's also fear that you'll make a mistake, and it might be the silliest of mistakes. I made, like, for example, yesterday, I did an Instagram live, and I was doing the live, and in this live recording, I was also wanted to invite people to join my masterclass, which I'm inviting you as well, which is on the 20th. And I started the title, well, it's going to happen to me again now, but it was like, I said, how to help more, feel better. And I literally could not remember the last part of my title. Like I couldn't remember. And I can just feel my brain be like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. I can't believe I forgot the title. And I just now, because I have so much experience with this, I was able to just be like, okay, you kind of stumbled through that and kept going. But that fear of making a mistake, a public mistake that people, especially people who don't know you, although that's interesting. For some of you, your fear of visibility might be more with people that you do know, right? That might give you more fears. Like, I'm totally okay if strangers hear me, but if it's my family or friends, then I get really panicked, right? So there's a fear of making a public mistake, being called out on that. And then there's a fear also with being visible. There could be a fear of being overwhelmed and smothered by people's needs. That's a big one for me. That comes up when I think about, and that's one I've been working on, when I would think about becoming more visible, because I want to become more visible. I want to attract more clients. I want to attract more students. I want to help more people. That means more people are going to see me and hear me. And one of the fears that is an easy fear for me to be triggered is like, oh my gosh, that means more people need me. More people that need me, more people that want something from me. And that could make me feel like a part of me can feel like, oh, I don't know if I can handle that. It might be too much. Right? So notice if any of those, and maybe there's some different ones for you. Like, what are the fears that come up when you think about being visible, the next level of visibility for you? And try, I've done this exercise with a lot of women. It's very interesting. For some, it comes right away like, oh yeah, I'm like terrified that somebody will judge me. And for others, they're like, I don't think I have any fears. I'm really confident. I love being in front of people. But then when they tune in, they're like, oh yeah, but there is this one fear, or maybe it's this one fear of being visible in a certain aspect of your life, right? And so as you check that, what I want you to know is whatever the biggest fear is. So for me, like I said, one of the biggest ones that I've been working on for a long time is that fear of being smothered, being overwhelmed by people's needs. Like that, whatever yours is, holds the key, is like a doorway to more visibility for you. So it's like showing you like, oh, okay, there's this wound there. There's a thought error there that my soul can help me heal. And as I do that, I'm just going to open myself up for more, for more service, right? For me to be able to be of more service, for me to be able to be an instrument of more love and light. And so whatever your fear is, the first thing I invite you to do after you identify it is let yourself feel it in your body. Because often we're so it's like hot potato. We're like, oh no, 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 I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. But it's there and it's actually creating resistance and sabotaging us in ways that we don't even realize. So first step is recognize like, oh yeah, I have a fear of being judged. Let me just be with that fear in my body, right? Not let it overwhelm you or drown in it, but just like, where do I feel that? So I know for me, the fear of being smothered, I feel like in my chest, like I literally can't breathe, right? There's that feeling. For you, if it's a fear of being judged or making a mistake, maybe you feel it in your stomach. So just allow that feeling. Start to practice letting that feeling be in your body. So one of the things that I coach my clients on a lot is expanding their emotional range, right? It's like I'm as I put all these, I've been doing this work now for 15 years. So as I put all these tools and practices together, what I realize is I've formulated this emotional safety protocol, right? It's like, how do you feel emotionally safe to be seen, right? To be visible. And one of the ways is like to start to let yourself feel that feeling. So when I let myself feel that fear, I can just kind of breathe. I realize, okay, this feeling is not killing me. I can breathe. I can breathe through it. And sometimes that's all that's needed. Like it might be something that you've worked on for so long, actually. And when you let the feeling be in your body, you realize, oh, like I actually don't have that fear as much anymore. It was like the fear of the fear, right? And so sometimes that's enough. Other times it will require more processing, right? Maybe you find that it's an inner child part. Like for example, the fear of being judged. I keep going back to that because that's a very common one. Often it comes from an inner child part of us. Maybe there's an inner child part of you that was judged harshly growing up, that was shamed a lot. And so that might require some inner child work, right? Being with that inner child part of you. I'm not going to go too much into that right now, but that's just to give you that in case for some of you, you're like, oh yeah, that's part of it. And so if you do find this fear and you recognize, okay, there's more processing, one of the things you can do is just like ask it questions. Like, well, like get to know it, right? That's the befriending practice in my book, Answering Your Inner Calling. It's like, oh, I have this fear of being judged. Well, let me talk to that fear. Well, what are you afraid will happen if you get judged? Oh my gosh, if I get judged, everybody's going to know and then nobody's going to trust me and blah, blah. I'm making stuff up, but you can do that. And just sometimes, again, there's great power in naming. So just getting like that out, like, oh, wow. Like, so for me, if I talk to that part that's afraid of being smothered, afraid of like, there'll be too many people that need too much from me. When I talk to that part of me, I'm like, well, what is the worry? What is the fear? Well, that I won't be able to take care of everybody, that it'll be too much for me, that people will get mad at me if I don't help them in the way they want me to help them, right? It's like I can write all that down. And as I have done that over the years, I've recognized, oh, this comes from a lot of old wounds, right? Of feeling like I had a lot on my shoulders, right? Since childhood. And it's this little girl part that just feels like I can't handle more of it, right? So me having compassion, me really understanding that helps me to not let that be the thing that stops me, right? And so again, this is part of increasing your emotional range, right? This is part of that emotional safety protocol, right? That's the thing of like, okay, how do I feel emotionally safe to let myself be seen more? And so the other thing with this that's really important is that, for you to know that one of the most important first steps in letting yourself be seen more, because what does that mean? Let's really break this down. And I meant to say this earlier. Increasing your visibility isn't really about like getting more followers or having more people to like your social media posts or even having more people come to your events. I mean, all those are lovely, but that's not what it's about, right? Increasing visibility can definitely come from the ego mind. Oh, I want more people to follow me. I want more people to listen to me. I want more people to pay attention to me because when that happens, I feel good about myself and I feel like I'm actually making a difference and that makes me feel good. But then the downside of that is like, oh, if nobody shows up, now I feel really bad, right? It's a codependent relationship with your audience, with the people that you're here to serve. That's not what we're looking for. When visibility comes from your soul, the numbers actually don't matter. It's like you're just like, okay, find me. I want to shine, radiate, glow, but specifically in your authentic self. That's the type of visibility that helps humanity. It's because if you think about it, the world, there's so much fakeness in the world right now. There's so much just kind of boisterous fakeness, kind of shiny object syndrome, right? It's like there's so much of that out in the world. There's so much that's inauthentic. And so when somebody comes along that is actually authentic, that has that as their commitment, because authenticity is a practice, right? And so it is very compelling. If you've ever been in the presence of somebody that's just very authentic, very comfortable in their own skin, very, has let go of the facades, let go of the protective masks, and is just themselves, it's so compelling, it's so magnetic. Even if you're not, it doesn't mean that you agree with them, but it's just like there's something that's very healing about that. Why? Because it because we all want that, right? It's like the only reason we have facades and we wear, metaphorical masks and we cover certain parts of our lives is because we're afraid of being judged. It ultimately comes back to this fear that we're separate from God, the divine. And so we are all on a journey of becoming more and more authentic. And so when we're actually around someone who is authentic or who's practicing that, who wants that, who desires that, it's very healing for us because we're like, oh, I want that. I want to be authentic as well. And so visibility, this is where I meant to start, is like healing the fear of visibility. The first thing is you need to realize like, oh, you need to be visible to yourself. Like the first thing is like holding a mirror up and really truly seeing yourself, your gifts, your talents, your strength, your resilience, your quirkiness, your uniqueness, your humor, your expertise, not from an arrogant, narcissistic place, but from a place of true, like really seeing who you are, like seeing yourself as your soul sees you. And as you do that, as you start to see yourself, you shed, right? You shed old concepts. So maybe you have an old concept that you're a beginner, you're a newbie, you don't know what you're doing, you're still learning. And then you recognize when you actually look within and reflect, you're like, actually, I have a lot of experience. I actually have a lot to offer already. I'm actually an expert in this field. That doesn't mean you don't have more to learn, but it's like acknowledging that. And then you can shed that layer of insecurity and really really see yourself. And then from that place, you really share authentically to others. And so, there's this like revelation. It's like you're revealing yourself to yourself, you're revealing yourself to others. And to be clear, being authentic, I know sometimes there's individuals that can kind of mask authenticity with like being just very raw and unfiltered and often rude. That's not what authenticity is, right? It's not that we have no discernment, right? That it doesn't mean you say whatever's in your mind, right? That's not what authenticity is, right? It's like, because there are many times that things come into our mind that are coming from our ego mind, not from our soul, not from our wise self. And it is our wisdom that can recognize, you know what? I'm not going to say that out loud because I know that thought is really not coming from my wise self, or there's a different way to share that wisdom, and I need to find the way to do that. I need to find what that way is so that in a way that it will be received the way I need it to be received, right? So again, your authenticity will look unique to you. And so I want to do a little meditation, just a little inner journey, quick one, to connect with your soul and have your soul show you what aspect of you is your soul guiding you to reveal more? Like really being curious, like, well, where am I being guided to reveal more? To reveal more of myself to myself, reveal more of myself to others. But I really want to give this as a mindfulness. Whenever you reveal something, and I don't mean like you're going to go tell people your secrets. That's not what I mean, right? But whatever the revealing is, I mean, for some of my clients, is when they first start to become a coach or share classes, just revealing to their family or to their friends that they're doing that might seem like a really risky thing. Like, oh, I'm going to let people that know that I'm starting to teach meditation. Oh my gosh, they're going to judge me. They're going to be like, how could she teach meditation? There's all those things, right? Or I'm going to reveal to people that I started a jewelry making business or whatever it is, right? It's like, I'm not suggesting you're opening your diary and reading it out loud, right? It's like, but whatever you're being called to reveal, your soul is guiding you to reveal that because it will be a gift not only to other people, but most importantly to you, right? Because that's part of the awakening process, is us awakening, waking up, seeing yourself for the truth of who you are. And so let's take a moment right now to ask. So I invite you to take a few deep breaths. Feel the earth underneath you. And bring your awareness to your heart center. And if it helps, you might bring the palms of your hands over your heart center like this. You might do this just for a moment, or maybe you keep your hands there if that's helpful. And now see there at the center of your heart this beautiful golden light that starts to swirl and creates this golden ray of light coming out of your heart center, projecting in front of you until in front of you you see this beautiful golden path. Right? This is the path of this year. This is your highest path. This is the path where you're so visible, both to the people that you're here to help and also to the people that are here to help you. You also want to be found by all those people that are here to support you. And so you're standing on that path, this beautiful golden path, and you suddenly notice that in front of you there is a mirror. It's the most beautiful mirror you've ever seen. It's got this like beautiful, just like frame made of beautiful crystals, and it's all these different colors, and and there's engraved like amethyst and rose quartz and all these different stones. And it's a full-length mirror. And you stand in front of it. And you can feel your soul close by. And your soul is saying that this mirror is different than our mirrors here in the earth plane. Right? This mirror shows you a reflection of yourself, shows you how your soul sees you. And so as you look at yourself in this mirror, your soul is going to give you an image, something that shows you a truth about you being visible. What is it that you're meant to show the world now? So look at yourself in the mirror and see. Maybe you see yourself and you just see yourself like radiating all of this light. Maybe you see yourself and I'm seeing some people seeing wings on them, like that you're an earth angel. Maybe you see yourself and you see yourself doing something, creating something with your hands. Maybe you see yourself and you see yourself like taking off a mask, like taking off this and this. This identity doesn't serve me anymore. Just notice what happens as you stand there in front of this mirror. What is your soul showing you? What are you meant to reveal to yourself, to others? What identities are you shedding? How are you being guided to be more visible? And I see that for some of you, when you look in the mirror, you might see yourself and a little girl next to you or a little boy that represents your inner child. You're like, oh, there's my little inner 5-year-old that's scared of being seen. Or maybe it's your little 5-year-old that wants to be seen. She's like, I want to be seen. So just notice. Now, you're just going to receive a blessing from your soul. Your soul is blessing you with a feeling of safety and is giving you next steps for you to take. And those steps are in your heart, even if you're not aware of them yet, they're there. And so with great gratitude, we bring the palms of our hands together, we bow to each other and our own heart, and we end this inner journey with a namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much. And I would love to hear if you want to share in the chat or in the comments, if you're watching the replay, just anything that came up for you when you looked in that mirror. And remember, this was very short, that meditation, so you can go back and hear it or just do your own. But I think I've shared this before years ago when I don't think I'd even left my career as a teacher yet. I hadn't. I was just it was like that must have been 2007 or 2008, one of those. So a while back when I was really starting to really dive into my spiritual journey, like with alternative healing modalities and meditation and all of that. And there was this class I would go to, and I loved going to that class because when this woman would lead meditations, I could just take a whole inner journey. And she would have us meditate with the angels. And almost every time I did that, the angels would come and they would be holding a mirror in front of me. And then they would show me they were holding mirrors in front of everybody. It was like I kept having this meditation. And it's not like I was controlling it. It's like that was the vision that was coming to me. And so, and I eventually recognized like, oh, they're showing us how they see us, right? The angels, see us like our soul see us. So anyway, I'm sharing that with you because that can be a very powerful practice for you in this journey of visibility. Okay, so I'm just going to pull a card for you and then we shall be done. This is from the Star Oracle. Okay, saying, I saw a loving, caring person, earth angel, beautiful. Then I saw myself as a child. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's beautiful. And you can continue with that meditation, right, to get more guidance. But that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. All right, what is the message for everyone here live and on the replay? This is a message about being visible. Oh, well, 2 came up. I'll just have to do both. This is so perfect with what you shared. 22, number 22, the holy child, starseed. I am a divine child of the universe. Look at this. Oh my gosh, she kind of looks like my granddaughter, Lila. Look at her with her little pearl. Oh my gosh. So you are a divine child. So one of the ways your soul sees you is as this precious, innocent, beautiful child. And then the other part is number 37, the priestess, embody. I am an embodiment of the divine feminine. How perfect is this? It's like both, right? Yes, there's a precious inner child, and then there's the priestess. It's like, I look at her crown, look at the gold and the wings right there. Oh my gosh. It's like you're both. It's time to reveal both. All right. Thank you, everyone. And remember, yes, the masterclass is on Thursday, February 20th. It is all about, I'm going to be talking about how to help more, how to rest better, how doing that actually helps you be of greater service. And I'm going to really be sharing what does it actually mean to help more? And what are those, what is it, like rest imposters? That's what I'm calling them. These things that we do that we think are resting, but it's actually not rest. So I'm going to really break that down for you so that, and the reason I'm doing these in the beginning of the year, right? This first quarter of the year is the foundation, right? This is like where we're setting the stage, the foundation for all of the up leveling, all of the sharing of your gifts, all of that's coming this year, right? So it's so important to know, well, what does it mean to help more? And to know, well, how do I rest better? Because remember what Mother Mary said, you might not remember, but I honestly don't even remember which offering I did, if it was the Guadalupe gathering or the ceremony in January. But when I was preparing for it, she said, this is the year to help more and rest more. And I was like, that makes no sense, Mother Mary. How do we help more and rest more? For those of you who are new to my work, by the way, I know I just threw in Mother Mary there. I really think of Mother Mary, of Kuan Yin, Green Tara, all these divine beings as ascended masters. This is beyond any sort of religious dogma or doctrine. And Mother Mary is one of the ones that I just work with very closely. So she said, this is the year to help more and rest more. And it was like, oh, okay. Even though at first it didn't make sense to me, she's like, you're being called to help more. And that requires you to rest more. But the key is to actually rest. And what does that look like? What does that mean? And so I'll be talking about that day. And it's a free masterclass. All right. And you will get the replay for 7 days. Thank you, Roxana. Lots of love to all of you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.